Today, I'm up a little bit over $100,000 trading overall through all my accounts. And today, I'll be talking about my exact trade that I took that got me there, my bias, my outlook, and how we were able to be patient today and capitalize on our opportunity. Let's get into it. So, if we look at the charts, this is the trade off the bat. But before we talk about this trade, I want to really talk about my bias coming into the open, right? So, coming into the open, initially, I had a bullish bias. Reason being, if you look at higher time frame narrative, we had seen a swing point here in a March 9th low on ES get taken out, and we had also seen bullish SMT created with ES and NQ. So you had ES, you had NQ here. You see these March 9th lows on NQ don't happen to get taken out, right? But you see these March 9th lows on ES happen to get taken out. So we see liquidity grabbed off ES's low, and we see bullish SMT created through higher time frame, which is typically what I usually like. Then we see price off the overnight sequence through London come back up here and seek validation in the push back up. What do we then see after that? Coming into the New York Open, the opening range move is initially bullish. We see price come up here and we see price react into that London high. However, we then happen to have a bearish sequence, pretty much a bearish opening range move reaction after the initial move being bullish, looking for a reversal back down. Now, if you look at the high in the session in which we put for NQ specifically, it was a high in this hourly gap fill. And I'll say, even after initially seeing this hourly gap fill get taken out and get filled and we put in that high, I was still relatively bullish. But what swayed my bias here was once we ended up seeing price displace past this 5-minute gap and displace past our New York lows, that told me that price most likely was content with the high that I put in. So it's a bit of a bummer because I felt my bias in the morning was very clean in terms of the hourly look. We ended up, again, having that SMT, bullish SMT, low being taken, good liquidity grab, nice wick created. And then you see price off the opening range movement through New York essentially look to trade lower. So for me specifically, in my head, I was like, okay, although I'm initially bullish, the good thing about what traders do, typically traders who do well, pro traders, is they don't marry a bias. They don't have a specific set bias, and they just specifically marry that bias and don't take a trade if it's not there. For me, I was extremely bullish off the open. Price clearly wasn't advocating for that. Then we eventually switched our narrative, and we were able to more so look for that flip down lower, potentially riding into our London lows. So recently, especially starting today, what I've been trying to do a bit more is get back to that compound approach, that compound mentality. Recently, what I've been doing more so a lot of times is having bigger targets and bigger goals for my trades in terms of areas of interest where I want to see price draw into. And recognizing price, we've been able to see that this year so far, price just hasn't been the best, especially with the past couple weeks. It's been very range bound. Again, you go to the daily time frame, you go to the 4 hour, any higher time frame that you're looking at, for the most part, you're seeing price trade very choppy, right? Very, very choppy. So for me specifically, even if it's continuation model trades or MSS trades, what I'm going to start doing more so is just getting back to that compound focus and recognizing that the markets are not really thriving right now. They're just more so looking to trade in range. So with this trade right here specifically, I had two targets on this trade. I had marked target one be right here, which was a 15-minute gap entry and also a lower time frame wick low. And my take profit two, which was the ultimate target, being in this London low. So essentially looking at this trade, kind of coming into it after seeing our higher time frame narrative kind of get disrespected and not confirm that interest in drawing higher off the low, I felt, okay, higher time frame wise, we created that bullish SMT. Price clearly is showing interest that it wants to come down here and take that low out. So for me specifically, kind of dumbing it down, I simply waited for a retracement. I think we've really improved today, just kind of going off this in very, very detail. Um, with me and how I've kind of done things the past couple weeks, knowing how conditions been, I've been a bit more risky with my trades just because there hasn't been many A plus trades, right? Trades that you just like you essentially enter and you're like, okay, yeah, this has a very supreme high chance of hitting take profit. With today, we didn't play around, right? We're just kind of going back again to that 1-0 mentality of where we either see the trade of high confidence pop up or we don't take anything else. Right. And we end up seeing price essentially sell off here. But now, once we end up seeing our narrative flip and flip bearish, which was around here, we don't end up seeing a proper retrace until price essentially retraces here a bit more on NQ and ES. So essentially, initially, I was looking at NQ to go short off of because NQ was the asset in which looked better off to sell. We didn't end up offering a clear retracement. Maybe in prior days, what I would do is look at an opportunity like this to maybe go short. I know obviously it works here, but for me specifically, if you're looking for full take profit in that London low, you take this move here, you're most likely get trailed out at some point. But for me specifically, all I simply did was waited for a clear retracement. And obviously in the Discord, you see me kind of mention that after initially flipping bias, I say idea, looking at these two 1 minute imbalances to work off of. You see NQ offer it, and then we end up flipping to ES because ES started looking a little bit better. So what we essentially did was we did not take prematurely. We simply waited for a retracement in the market into these imbalances for a continuation. We get the retracement, then price clearly tells us that it wants to come back down, look to invert its bias sequence, right? We see price eventually come back down, and you see me mention I am short, and then we end up going break even off our low of day. Our target 1 was slightly below at the 15-minute fill. This was about a 1 hour trade at this point in time. And then our target 2, which was our London low, after this long hold, we eventually end up hitting that low here just a couple minutes ago for a 2-hour trade. So a 2-hour trade to close off the weekend. Again, I think the reason we found success today is because we've been extremely patient today, right? We didn't take trades that were not fully there yet in terms of A plus conviction. We didn't get too eager, right? We just simply waited and we're like, okay, let's see clarity. Let's see price provide clarity. If it's there and our bias is clear and our draw is clear, we simply work off it. If we get the right retracement into an entry model, we simply take it. If we do not, we simply move on. So we're just kind of getting back to that. The Discord hasn't really fancied the riskier takes recently, so I thought I'd just get back to just focusing on that 1-0 mindset. And yeah, we're here. So a good trade, a 2-hour trade to close off the week. Again, very choppy, very choppy. We ended up taking this trade here, I believe, around like 11:20. Yes, I think right here. Yeah, around 11:20. We don't end up seeing TP hit until 1:49. So that's like over 2 hours of holding on this trade here. So pretty tough one, but a one that gets rewarded and does really well in the end. So today I just decided to risk up. And whenever you guys see me post, I'm risking $50,000 today, for example. That's across everything. That's across my TPT. That's across my personal. That's across my Lucid. That's across my Tradeify. So it's across everything essentially. It's what it is. I did still happen to size up past couple of days, and it's with today specifically done really well. Yesterday did a decent job as well, but yeah, ultimately 1-0, conquered it, and on to the next. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this recap, and see you guys Monday.